We'll see how well this audio works, but this is kind of a last South Bay hurrah for the Blunicorn before we move. And I thought I'd take her out to SVMC Cars and Coffee, so that's where we're headed. It's practically whisper quiet in this interior, so hopefully you guys can hear me okay. But thought I'd give you a cockpit view of what it's like to drive the Ultima through town and out and down the road. Video from inside the Ultima, and a lot of the video from the Ultima on the road, period, because I've been fighting this alternator and battery issues, well, since I got it back together, really. I was hoping to have it resolved with a kind of a boost resistor on the alternator, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. The thing about Ultima that you don't really get from a lot of other videos is that whereas other cars like the GTR Black Series or Porsche GT3 or GT3 RS or even a Lamborghini Evo or any of that stuff, those are all street cars pretending to be race cars. And the Ultima is very much the opposite. It is basically a tube chassis race car pretending to be a street car just because somebody put a little bit of carpet and some turn signals on it. So you get some squeaks and creaks. You get a lot of cabin noise from the engine because, well, quite frankly, it's right behind you. And even then, the Blunicorn's much quieter than other Ultimas that I've ridden in because I went the extra mile to add insulation and sound damping to the floors and doors, to the rear bulkhead, and so it's a little more livable, but livable compared to what? You can make shorter trips without noise attenuating headphones or earmuffs or that sort of thing, but generally speaking, for longer trips I like to wear either headphones or even just Apple AirPods with the noise canceling on, although it's really out of its league competing with the Ultima. If that Viper's headed the same place we are. We got another fun toy coming up on our driver's side. Is out. I guess we'll cruise in with them, have a little bit of a British invasion. SVMC, or the Silicon Valley Motor Club Cars and Coffee, was started a few years ago, and generally it's the most chill, one of the most well-behaved cars and coffee events that I've been to, very much in line with the ethos of Caffeine and Machine in the UK, which is just don't be a dick, be respectful, and it encourages basically anybody to show up, any car enthusiast, any car. There's usually a wide variety of vehicles that show up every meet, and all of the owners have been great, and you get everything from a clapped out garage special to a $26 million 1 of 10 Ferrari Nart. So it really does run the gamut, and everyone is just really nice and especially friendly. So if you get a chance to check out one of these events, I'll put a link down in the description below, and you can find their schedule posted online. Hello and welcome back to DriveDriverDriven. I'm Humble, and today is, well, one of probably a few packing days. As I mentioned before, we're moving, so I've got to pack up a working project garage and get it into a new location. I've already kind of detailed a little bit of a plan of action, but to recap, here's kind of the game plan. So really first up is I want all of the tools to find their way back to the toolbox, and any project stuff for the MK I want to try and set here for eventually finding its way into the MK itself. Another thing that I have to do for the MK is I actually have to bolt the drivetrain in, because right now it's just setting in there, but I don't want it to bounce on the road and bounce off the mounts inside the car. So I need to secure the drivetrain in the chassis. I guess I should do that before I start putting the tools away. But aside from that, I want to make sure that we get all of the project car stuff in the car, which means putting the skins back in the interior so that it's got a kind of a solid place to store things. And then we're going to start piling stuff into the MK, as well as pin some of the body in place so it's safe to transport that way. Next up, we're going to start with this far wall and start pulling stuff down and staging it here in the front of the garage. I've kicked the Blunicorn out for now, so it's got to sit outside, and we're just going to start staging stuff as we go down on this half of the garage. Another thing we got to do is clean off this shelf. I want to get all of the camera stuff and YouTube stuff, etc., together in our sort of camera bin. So that's all together. Basically, the name of the game is put like stuff together so that you can find it later when you need to unpack everything. So anything that's already in a crate or a box is easy to move and start staging in front of the garage, and then I can start pulling this stuff down sooner than later, just so that I don't forget about it, because that's what's going to happen. So enough talking about it. Let me get you into time lapse and I can get cracking. All right, check in. I was gonna say about the halfway point, but I don't think I'm quite there yet. A lot of what I've been doing is half organizing and half triaging stuff that needs to be thrown away. A good example was basically almost this entire shelf here. Most of what was on this shelf was actually from the Ultima rebuild. I had to keep for the insurance purposes until everything was taken care of, and then I just never pitched it. So some of the stuff that was worth keeping, I threw on this Metro rack and just wrapped up in a pallet wrap. There wasn't very much worth keeping from the Ultima after the fire. Like the heads were deemed okay. They're still decent cores, but otherwise not too much. There's an old VW race engine down there, an heirloom toolbox from my dad, and some loose odds and ends. So this cart just kind of ended up being miscellany, and it'll do to hold some loose items. A lot of this stuff I'm just packing through shelves as I go. I have some of these old work bins here that have just perished over time, whether it's UV exposure or exposure to garage chemicals and things like that. So I've had to repack a couple of those. And I still have a lot of this to go through. Yeah, some of this can just move forward in the garage, like just the stacks of tires and wheels can go forward in the garage. There's another stack of wheels actually that I believe are inside, which are actually for the MK. We'll see those in the future, but for now, we can pull these forward and add them to the pile. I think on the short list is to get all of the fluids rounded up, fluids, volatiles, paint, cleaners, that sort of thing. I need to clear off this workbench, and then underneath of it, I got to round up all my bikes and bike equipment into one place. And then this sort of impromptu wall of project boxes also needs to be more or less collected and then tossed over here. I pulled the MK off of the stands, as you saw, and I wheeled it out of the garage for more room. I've been piling as much as I can for the MK in the MK, and I'm gonna bolt down the bodywork as I can and just wrap it so that nothing can come out or come loose while it's on the road. I don't think the nose will stay in there, and I don't think the hood will remain on the car. I don't know, we'll see. I've flirted with the idea of taping it down, but because I don't have any of the securing clips or whatnot in place, I just don't trust it staying put without the nose on, because if it catches a little wind, it's going to rip the whole thing off. So I may transport those separately in the Mercedes just to keep them safe and to prevent the paint from getting damaged. I got to put some more of this like blue protective whatever on the nose, on the scuttle, on the hood, just for peace of mind. But otherwise, we're making progress. Doesn't seem like much. I still have to pull the stuff out of the rafters, but yeah, we're doing it little by little. Yeah, the clock is ticking. We literally close, today's Sunday, we close Tuesday, we move Saturday. So that sets up the timeline. We got 6 days to go, give or take. Really, the garage is going to be the worst of it because it is an active working space. The house isn't so bad. We've already packed up our living room and such. But yeah, still a lot to do in the garage. So let's stop procrastinating and continue on. Oh, riveting stuff, like watching grass grow or paint dry. Watching me pack and organize is about as thrilling as it gets. That being said, here's the progress. Just about everything is stacked up here. There's, this is all empty. There's a few stuff there, some stragglers here. That's mostly empty. Still have the toolbox. And then on this side of the garage, there's a little bit of stuff under here, a little bit of stuff there, a little bit of stuff in the cabinet, but really that's about it. I got to remember to pull down the reel and the lights and all of that stuff, but I still have a little bit upstairs. We'll get to that later. I just wanted to get the bulk of the work done this weekend and made a pretty big dent, if I don't say so myself. One of the things we did, I don't remember if I mentioned it before, but got the bodywork on the MK, and we transferred the roll cage onto the chassis for transport. This will be better and easier to transport the cage itself than the roll bar. The roll bar can just slip into basically any of the cars. But the cage, it's just best to put it on the car. And then once I'm done putting stuff inside of it, I'll probably put a moving blanket or a tarp or something across the inside and then secure everything down with straps so that nothing can come up or blow out or that sort of thing. I still got to bolt down the scuttle, but that's not going to go anywhere. And everything else, there's no loose items in the engine bay, and the engine's cinched down, so that's not going to pop out while we're going down the road. Put the radiator on, again, to keep it safe. It's just easier to transport it that way. And yeah, that's about it. Put the axles and the muffler in the back here, and again, I'll strap this down so it's nice and secure. But yeah, that's this is really the last look of this garage. Just as a recap, we moved in here really the beginning of 2018, I think. We built the Ultima, we built the Zero. We started the MK project, but we also worked on the Honda and the Porsche out of this garage. We rebuilt Doe's Ultima, that yellow Ultima with the 8-to-1 header. That was all in here. So this garage has seen a lot of projects, which is why there's still tons of boxes and cruft and bits and pieces still tucked up here and there, just from several car projects over the years that I just moved on to the next project. I didn't really clean up after it, and that's the result. So it is what it is. So reminiscing aside, this is going to be the last video out of this house and this garage. It's probably going to be a few weeks post-move to get resettled. It's still going to be chaos because unlike this garage, there's no shelves, there's no nothing in the new house, and I'm going to have to organize and unpack and get everything situated and hunt through all the boxes I just packed to find all the stuff I need to get started on the MK once again. So it's going to be a few weeks before we get back into the swing of things, but I do promise a new video to show the new house and to show you why the move was worth it. So that being said, thank you guys for watching, and thanks for your patience until we get the next couple of videos out, and I'll see you next time.